really fun.
Alright, everybody, good evening and welcome to the Z Trigger live stream. Brad here.
I'm Brandon.
So, we're going to be playing some more Final Fantasy VIII tonight, and we're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about other stuff too, but we're going to talk about the game too. Good lord, I have 9 hours on this game already. I haven't even left the first island. That tells you just how much I've played the damn card game. Alright.
Well, it takes a lot of grinding in that card game. At least it did for me. I killed myself on that card game just trying to get the Quistis card. Because the asshole would either not play the card, like it would take several games for him to bring it up. And whenever he did, for whatever reason, I'd beat him every other time. But whenever he brought that card, it always ended in a draw.
It would always end in tears.
So I spent about 2.5, 3 hours trying to get that card. Playing the same guy over and over again.
Jesus, man.
Just so I could make the card games against other people easier.
I have to kill these bugs. This is a sad thing. I don't want these experience points.
Target the cards.
Well, I mean, actually, you know, I guess I could as long as I don't attack with Squall.
See, that's my problem now. It's like I got the sword before the final, and he's one-shotting things that are in the vicinity. So I'm like, well, that makes it hard getting cards.
Alright, selfie, go and whack it one more time. So, in other news as far as things going on, I now am down to 150 pages of the Wise Man's Spear. And I kind of want to ask you something that I really
Where are you at, Wiser? Where are you at, Wiser?
About 150 pages from the end.
Okay.
Can I make a statement about this book without it potentially pissing you off?
Well, I mean, I'm already aware that I'm already of the opinion that the book is not as good as the last one.
No.
So I already accept criticisms that it possibly has.
Okay, so I mean, I want you to be aware that I think it's a damn good book. I'm not knocking it whenever I say what I'm about to say. You understand that, right?
Uh-huh.
But the plot of The Name of the Wind was so damn sturdy, and the flow of it is so much more... I'm looking for the right word here. It's a much more cohesive and sound plot because it's not the second book in a trilogy.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, it's like, unfortunately, though his goals and what he does is trying to, put more blocks into him reaching his goal, ultimately, he walks off the path, and we just get this whole gigantic section that has nothing to do, really, with what he's ultimately trying to accomplish.
It has nothing to do with it on the surface level. Like, I'm sure it will be revealed. I'm sure its importance will be revealed later, but I already know based on where he's at, because he's still in, he's still learning about the Lithanian.
He's still there?
Yes.
He's still there at 100 pages through the end?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it went on that long.
Yeah. So, I'm in a situation where, like, it's good, but I'm frustrated because it's not what I'm... I know this is going to sound really, like, needy, but it's not what I want from the book at this stage. And it's driving me fucking crazy.
Well, see, then you actually do reinforce what I'm saying, because at the point in the book, it doesn't play a role.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'll pick up next book, But
we don't know that.
At this stage,
This could actually just could actually just be the end of that segment. He got it. Where are you at? What just happened? Like what is he doing?
He's back, learning after he was given his sword, and he's memorizing the story of his sword.
Okay, so that part tells you how he got that mythical sword that they talk about with him.
Right.
So what point would they ever have of going back to the Lithani? None. Absolutely none. Unless he just makes up some bullshit reasoning other than possibly Tempe coming in. I can see him because they're friends, but other than that, I pretty much see that's it for that civilization. You've learned about them. You saw how he got his sword, and time to go on and tell about the other things, because this is a guy telling his story and trying to clear up certain myths about himself.
Right.
So I don't really see them playing a role past that. And while I enjoyed that stuff, my ultimate feeling is, it's like, well, that was cool. I got some world building, got to see another civilization, but ultimately, even with all the part before that, ever since he left the university, I was like, everything past that, even if you include this episode with the bandits, it ultimately, to me, was a lot of filler that saw him not pursuing his goal.
Right, and he's getting like tidbits of stuff about his goal.
Yeah, and
there's a lot of foreshadowing in there, like, about the fact that his story is ultimately a tragedy. By the way, spoiler tag.
I mean, honestly, we really haven't said anything.
True, but spoilers.
Because once you begin the name of the wind, I mean, there's him leaving the universe for a little bit that's expected. That's going to happen.
Right.
But yeah, so it's. I completely understand. I thoroughly love the book. It's just I wish there was more development in the actual what motivates him, and which is why I'm like, when I think about the third book, and I'm like, I don't see how you can close out the majority of your stuff in a book that's supposed to be shorter than the second one. With how you write, seeing how
wait a minute. He actually said it'd be shorter.
I've read a few different interviews and the amount of words he's taking out, and I want to say that he did say that he was trying to make it shorter than the second. Now, by doing that, he could also be trying to trim it down to take out a lot of the fluff. Because at this point, we don't really need, extensive world building. Well, that's not true, because there's so many things that they've talked about, even in the first book, that still aren't truly explained.
Right.
Like the spider-like creatures with the ones that start with an S. I can't remember what they're called. The demons, basically. Yeah. They really haven't explored them. They haven't talked about why are they there? Where'd they come from besides the Fey realm? I mean, like, why are they around now? What the fuck did he do? Because we know it's his fault.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's just so much left of he's supposed to kill a king, slay an angel, and I'm like, you left a lot to be done. No wonder you can't get this book done.
Can you imagine the outline that son of a bitch has got sitting on his desk? Oh no!
I mean, he when he talked about writing this, he said that he went to a very, very deep depression while writing that book. Like he had,
The
like he
first
said,
one?
he that is second.
Oh,
It said it was like nightmares when it came to his emotional health.
ooh. I get that. I can see it. That book, you know, it's disappointing, but at the same time, it's still a very good book. But I'll be honest, because the plot is what it is, it's part of the reason it's taking me a little bit longer to read this one than I intended.
Yeah.
Not because it's been bad, but and this is not a critic. And I know this is gonna sound like I'm like being really harsh on the book, but like first the part with the bandits was going a lot longer than I wanted it to.
Yep.
And then the part with him and the Fae woman went longer than I wanted it to.
See, there's just so many weird, like, why? I mean, other than to present how he gets his mythical cape. It's kind of like the thing with the Lithani. Is it going to serve more purpose?
I mean, it's a thing where you can't jump into it and then get right back out of it because it won't feel real.
Yeah, and the
but
thing,
it just
the part
it
of
slowed the book.
Was a big the big thing was, you know, meeting Florian was like is really just a secondary thing. The real important thing is him meeting the tree, the Cathay. That's what was important, because it says that the guy who fucked up the world in the past, what led to it was him meeting the tree. So it's like, I don't know. I'm ready for the third book. I'm ready to close off this narrative, because it's ridiculous. I've not even been waiting as long as other people, and it's already been a few years for me now.
Yeah, because you got really intense on your reading. It was when I was in Winston-Salem, because that's whenever I started being able to buy books in pretty much bulk. So that was what? So yeah, that was 3 years ago now. Lordy me, 3 years. I've not read as many books this year as I even did that year.
Yep, I read it in 2015, so it's almost 3 years for me waiting.
Lordy me. Time flies, right?
Yep, and I don't know what I would do if I didn't start reading these other books. Sometimes I feel like if that book comes out and I read it, will I continue reading afterwards? Because now I no longer have something to that I'm waiting on. It's like I'm waiting on this book, so I'm reading other books in the meantime just to fill time.
Well, I know you will be reading. You know why? Because we'll be doing our Star Wars read-through stuff. When are we going to tackle the Revan novel?
I don't know. Do we have it?
I haven't bought a copy yet. I mean, I can anytime. It's cheap. I'm not going to be able to get a hardcover because all my bookstores are gone.
Did anything more happen with that? Is it still just sitting there full of shit?
What? The store. Ed McKay is still sitting there, and I don't know that anybody's gone in it since they shut the doors.
Wow.
Trade It closed.
Really?
Yeah, Trade It's gone. Like, they are taking the sign down because that's a chain.
Well, I guess once you took down the thing that you closed the store that actually brought people to the parking lot.
Yeah, exactly. Because nobody fucking shops at Aaron's and also buys loads of books. Although I guess they might have gone to Trade It. I mean,
Trade It.
You know, the thing is, I bought a total of 2 games there.
I bought a total of nothing.
I bought
that place, man.
Yeah,
I can't believe that. I can't believe that place was a chain because it looked like a shithole.
It was basically a pawn shop. Wait a minute, did I only buy one game there? I can't remember. I did buy my copy of Murdered Suspect there for the Xbox One, which, by the way, very cool game if you ever get a chance to play it.
I have it on PC.
I also have it on PC. I got it with a Humble Bundle.
Yeah, I think I did too. I installed and played a little bit of it.
I played the whole thing in about a day. I was home and Joe was sick, and so I sat down and we did the whole game one day. It's very short, but it was good. It's a fun game. I like the story. I mean, the gameplay is... It's a better story and idea than it is an actual game, if that makes sense. I had a lot of fun going through it, except for the parts when you had to, like, evade pain in the... About going through it one more time and maybe finishing up all the achievements and stuff. But then that's achievements. I think I'd rather... I wish I'd gotten it on PS4 instead so I could get trophies, because I like trophies more than achievements these days. Very simply because achievements feel like a drop in the bucket, and I can actually see actual progress when I look at my trophies. Finally, a gunblade specialist, says Robin Williams, school headmaster. Oh, why in the hell does Zell run like that?
Who knows?
Let me give you this. It's a battle meter.
Thanks.
Also, tomorrow I'm going to give you a magic lamp that contains the devil.
Yeah, what the fuck?
No telling, man. Alright. Okay, yeah, inauguration party. Just call it what it is. You guys are going to prom. You guys are going to magic school prom. The Yule Ball. Oh, Lord of me. So yeah, I'm good. I mean, whenever you guys are ready, I'll go buy a copy of Revan and I'll read it. Here's something that I didn't really know. The guy who wrote Revan also wrote Mass Effect. Like the game. If I recall correctly, anyway. Drew Karpyshyn. Wow. I'm seed rank 6. So it's pretty mediocre. Oh well. I'll just take all those tests and get my rank up and make some money. Alright. Yeah, writer Drew Karpyshyn. So the guy who wrote Mass Effect also wrote... Well, he wrote Forgotten Realms novels, and he wrote 5 Jedi-oriented Star Wars books.
There's over 45 novels in this series. What the fuck?
What series?
I'm just like on Goodreads just looking around, and I see J.D. Robb. She's got a series called In Death. She currently has 45 novels.
Whew.
45. How can you even remotely come up with enough material to keep that interesting? Because that's a lot. That's ridiculous.
That is a lot. But I'm not saying it's not impossible.
Oh, I'm sure it isn't.
Especially if they're
Damn.
short novels. Squall goes to prom. Would you like a glass of champagne, spiky-haired man? Sure. Maybe if I drink enough, people will like me. Oh shit, here comes Zell. Zell likes me. I guess we're both seeds now, huh? That's still the most unusual naming for a military organization. It says like, shake my hand. It has a joy buzzer in it. Damn it, he didn't fall for it. I'm actually wondering what I will start reading after I finish Wise Man's Fear. Because I don't have a copy of Slow Regard of Silent Things yet. I do have two other novels that I'm just kind of sitting... A couple of other novels I'm just sitting on that I bought recently. Like, We'll Save the Galaxy for Food. And, I still have Tropic of Kansas to read. And I never read the Max Brooks... or Mike Brooks... the book that's basically Firefly. I never read that one. Dark Run. Never sat down and read it. Oh, here we go. Cutting Edge FMVs from 1999. Oh my god. I'm actually tired as hell. Yesterday work was so hard to get through that by the time I got home and I got to bed, and I did read for a while last night, long enough to read 30 pages or whatever. Oh, don't lie to him, Renoa. That's not nice. And then I got up early this morning, and so I was up at 7 this morning. I'm still tired from yesterday. That's how bad my 13-hour shift was.
Today was a horrible day.
Oh, yeah, you're in the pharmacy business the week before a hurricane. Everybody's like
God.
losing their shit because they think there's gonna be a hurricane.
I honestly didn't know that. I was like, you know, we've all week's just been busy, yeah, and I was like, there can't be any more people.
And it's the first of the month too. Still, first week of the month.
Yeah, but usually by this point, that hump that's been crossed, you know, we're no longer feeling the effects of that.
After the 5th, usually.
Yeah, but God, man. Today, this first time in a while, I didn't finish our queue before leaving.
Ouch.
I just couldn't. It just kept coming. I would get new scripts and would never... It would take hours for me to get back to doing stuff that just needed to be done that was preloaded. It was ridiculous. I hope tomorrow is not like that. I hate weeks like this.
I'm terrified to go in tomorrow because, yeah, the forecast is showing that we're less likely to get the brunt of the storm like we were. But my clientele are not intelligent. That's the nice way to put it. The mean way to put it is my clientele are fucking stupid. And probably shouldn't have said that on a publicly released video, but I mean, facts are facts, guys. Sorry. But
well, I mean, the average intelligence of society isn't the highest thing in the world.
Well, I mean, if you want a perfect example of how people do not know how to handle a major, like, crisis like a Category 5 hurricane, these motherfuckers buy gallons of milk. What are you going to do when the power goes out with that milk?
Damn good question.
So that's why everybody makes the joke, milk sandwiches. That the storm comes, your power goes out, you pour your milk on your bread and have a milk sandwich. And that's how you get by when the storm comes. But that's what they do. They come in, they clean our bread out, and they buy loads of milk and case upon case of bottled water. Now, the water and the bread makes sense. The milk blows my goddamn mind. Why do they buy milk?
I've never understood the whole milk thing.
I mean, we went and got some stuff tonight just in case. You know, we got some water, we got bread, we got batteries, because if something happens, you need to have a few things, you know? And by the way, at Target where we were, like, we were clear out of damn water. They were clear out of water like twice while we were there. And we got one of the first cases that came out from the back room. But we didn't buy milk. Oh, I don't get it. And tomorrow at the store it's going to be frozen food and meat, because they'll buy frozen food and meat all day long for a storm. They did it last year when that storm hit. Oh, we're going to go to the secret area, Quistis? Yeah. Sorry. Yes, they go to talk after curfew, Quistis. You keep believing that, innocent teacher that you are.
Don't stop believing.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I had that's one of the only songs that I heard at the wedding last weekend that was not awful. That tells you the quality of the rest of the music. Oh. I tried to get him to play Parliament, but the DJ just wouldn't have it. I mean, could you imagine, like, a wedding entirely consisting of white people dancing to Parliament?
Why not?
It would have been hilarious, because they already couldn't dance. Alright, here we go. We go to the training area, where the T-Rex lives. Should probably heal. I cannot wait till I get paid on this thing. Alright. Alright. Get changed. Alright. You know, I did not actually have enough like time at the house where I wasn't trying to build furniture to work on my run of Mass Effect. I'm at a boss fight and I'm getting stomped. Is it just me, or is the combat in the game actually pretty damn challenging?
I don't know, it's been a long time since I played that one.
Yeah, because didn't you play the first one and then like a while after you finally sat down and finished the second one because you thought the second one was inferior to the first?
I do think it's inferior to the first.
You see, I'm looking forward to trying it for myself, because I've already kind of got I've gotten mixed feelings, kind of.
Combat wise, they do improve combat wise, but they take out the things that I do like. So it's like they took out. Basically, take out all the RPG elements. They dumb it down to the point that it's just a shooter with RPG elements instead of an RPG with shooter elements.
And, well, here's the thing, though. It's like, the RPG elements are... They offer me so far into the game, and I'm a decent way into the game at this point. I've got about 20 hours in. I feel like at times the RPG mechanics are not as deep as I would like.
Mm.
And that's making it a bit of a drag to play, really. I'm not... Because whenever I upgrade, like, a stat for... for something like... Shit, I don't know. For, like, machine gun use, like assault rifle use. I don't feel like it ever really affects what's happening in the game itself, because I'm still getting mauled in combat. Well, actually, it's just bosses at this point. I pretty much walk through standard encounters now. But if it's like a boss fight, I get wrecked. But that's probably just because of how I'm playing it. I know I'm not the best at the game. So. And also, one of the RPG mechanic things that I can genuinely say I don't like is items. Like, I know that you need a bunch of items to melt down into Omni Gel so that whenever you inevitably fail the shitty button pressing puzzles, that you have a backup plan. However, it makes for a positively dreadful experience managing your inventory once it's all said and done, because you sit there and you have to melt down all these goddamn items. And it happens often enough now because my inventory stays over 100 pieces so that I don't get rid of something I might need. And I never, have like good enough memory to remember every single ammo type and machine gun that's in my inventory, because they all have similar names and you only get like a new iteration of those guns. So I want to make sure I don't like get rid of something good, So it's driving me a little bit crazy dealing with that. I don't dislike the game, but I've yet to have any experience with it. It's like, oh my god, this is the greatest role-playing game ever. And I know I probably won't ever feel that way about it, so I'm just gonna have fun for the ride, and maybe also feeling that way I won't get hurt whenever the ending sucks. At the end of 3.
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly, they really should have known. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, that's sort of like, with movie studios, and they put out a shitty movie, and then they're like, "Well, why didn't our film make money?" Because it was a piece of shit. You knew it was a piece of shit, but you released it anyway.
They don't always release it. Like, remember that remake of Red Dawn that had the guy play Thor in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing sat on a shelf for like 5 years. Until Avengers came out and he became a household name of sorts. So sometimes they realize what they're fucking up. You got to give them a little tiny sliver of credit, but then they're like, "Oh, money! Let's get it and eat it like a salad," and go out there and throw a piece of shit in theaters. And I don't care what anybody says. There should never have been a remake of Red Dawn.
No, there shouldn't have.
Because Red Dawn wasn't that good either.
No. Fucking Patrick Swayze.
Fucking Patrick Swayze, man. How the hell did that asshole ever have a career? Let me rephrase that. How the hell did that guy ever have a career? He's dead now. That's not very nice to call him an asshole.
Pretty face.
Yeah, I guess so.
Red Dawn didn't even make its money back. I mean, come on. I mean, you knew. I mean, yes, it had Chris Hemsworth, but he is not what made that film popular. I mean, it wasn't just Thor alone that made Avengers Avengers.
Nope. But he had a name after Thor and Avengers, so they're like,
well,
let's give it a try.
Enough of the name.
Well, clearly.
Robert Downey Jr.'s a name.
Absolutely.
Scarlett Johansson is a name.
Yeah, and she couldn't even propel that piece of shit Ghost in the Shell movie.
Yeah. Chris Hemsworth, even after the one film, is not a name. Not yet, anyway. Yeah, you know the name, but he's not, proving himself to be...
He's not Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, he's not that guy that's just like, I know if I go see this movie, at least the acting is going to be great. That's not what I get. Yes, his acting in the Marvel movies are great. It's good, but it's not...
And he's a character. He's a character actor at this stage. He didn't play anything other than Thor, really.
And honestly, that is kept his claim to fame and will be his only claim to fame, in my opinion.
I'm not saying I'm going to give him like a lot of credit for, but I would see what he does otherwise. I don't think that he's going to be.
I'm not saying that he can't do other things, but I'm saying that I wouldn't be surprised if the character acts sort of similar, with a different name.
Right.
I mean, honestly, the only person out of that entire cast besides Ronnie Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson that I can remember actually going to other things and it being fantastic is Chris Evans. Did you ever see Snowpiercer?
Yes.
That was a damn good film.
Snowpiercer was superb. And it makes me happy that it was as good as it was, because you have that effect of whenever you watch a movie that everybody says is so good, and then you're like, well, this might be garbage, and because people have shit opinions of movies.
Yes.
And then you watch it, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. They weren't wrong. They weren't wrong this time.
No.
I like this a lot.
Yes, that was a very fucked up movie.
Yes, it was. But it was extremely good.
Yeah, a lot of times I was like, wow, is this like BioShock on a train? That's what it sort of reminds me of.
There was a BioShock on a train vibe from time to time, I'll give you that. But it's sort of that thing I had happen to me today. It's like, I hear how good certain things are, and then I watch them for myself. I'm like, I don't like this, and that happened to me today with David Lynch's Mulholland Drive.
No shit. I could have. Well, that's why I asked him, like, why? Why? I mean, what possible reason, legitimate reason can you have? Because there's just only so many. Well, hell, for me, it died after that one chance. But for whatever reason,
Lost Highway?
Yes, and I let someone talk me into watching a different film, and that film really just like, nope, never again. At least when it comes to the TV show, he has to be reined in just a little bit, so it's at a tolerable level. But after Eraserhead, I will never, ever watch another one of his films. Just not even, never. There's no testing the waters. There's no third chance, nothing, ever, never. I hated that fucking film.
So let me explain to you why. So it's on the record. All right, I'm like you. I didn't like Lost Highway. We didn't finish it, for the record.
No.
We couldn't, because it had this really interesting opening part. It's like, man, I like this. This is interesting and mysterious. And then it stopped, and it became a thing that was irritating to watch, boring as hell, and it went on for so goddamn long. And it had nothing to do at all with what I was watching in the beginning, and that was disappointing and frustrating. And I get that he's an artist and all, but fuck, man, you're making a film. You have to have a narrative through line for people to give a shit if you're trying to attract an audience. Which clearly he's not worried about that, because he's just a damn... he's an artist, not a filmmaker. He's an artistic filmmaker rather than a filmmaker who wants to tell narratives. So then I gave up, and then eventually we tried to watch Twin Peaks, my wife and I did. And I'd been hearing how Twin Peaks was this incredibly important and incredible TV show, and it was so good, and blah, blah, blah. And then I watched it, and I'm like, I hate every person that's on screen because they all act like fucking cartoon characters.
They do. They really do.
They don't act like real people.
And what's more is they also accept things like cartoon characters. Like the scene that ultimately just sealed it for me was they're in the woods, and he is.
Is this Cooper?
Yeah, Cooper and a bunch of the sheriffs are in the woods, and they're. What is he doing? Was he throwing eggs? He's trying to figure out something through basically magic, and they just go along with it. Like a normal, you know, just something that anyone should have thought of thing to do. It's like, okay, that egg hit the plate. That's the guy we need to go talk to. What the fuck? That is not how you decide things in a detective story. And I looked at it, I was like, what the fuck, Joe? So, and that's when I was like, there's no way that would have been taken seriously or even being considered in any other TV show. Only here, only in this.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Around the time that we tried to watch it the first time, our buddy Dave Kinzel said that he kind of explained what I wasn't getting about the show at that level. That it was kind of mocking like drama, like daytime TV dramas, like soap operas and stuff.
Yeah,
and that makes sense. And that makes sense. You know, that allows it to make sense, but it doesn't make it better for me to watch it.
No.
Not something I'm going to have to watch for literally 40 hours, like not 40, but like 35 hours to get the entire story as it existed at the time. That's irritating.
My thing is, it's a little ridiculous to have an entire series to mock certain
type of television.
I mean, that's honest. I mean, I know it ended up being like, I don't think it really made money at the time, but that's a waste of money. And that's a gigantic waste of time and money. Now, I know it went on to be very highly influential, and, you know, we got X-Files from it.
Which, you know, I'll give it that. At least it gave me the X-Files. I like the X-Files.
Yeah, if I could ever fucking watch the show.
It is long.
Dude, I have tried to watch that show so many times. At this stage of my life, I have a hard time doing television. And even then, beyond that, if you're going to present me with a 24 show season, then I definitely ain't watching. Not because I don't want to, because I can't. It would take me forever. I don't have that much time to sit there and devote hours on a single season.
And when there's 9 of those seasons and some of it's dodgy.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love the X-Files. I had a great time watching it. All 9 seasons, every single episode, top to bottom. But you know how I watched a lot of it? I was writing for a website, and I would sit there and put a few episodes on while I was writing. And I was also working overnights at the time, and that's how I watched the first 6 seasons. Finishing that show took damn effort.
I bet.
And you know what? It was good for the most part, except for things like Monica Reyes being a character at all, and
I wasn't even aware of her character. Like, I knew of the Terminator takeover.
Terminator takeover.
I remember
the last 3 seasons are just him looking for John Connor.
It's like, I remember him coming into the show, and him and Scully, but I didn't know there was another person after that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Reyes was awful, because she was supposed to be the new Mulder, and she wasn't. Oh, what a frustrating thing. But you know, and so I'll give it that. Twin Peaks gave us the potential for the X-Files. But Twin Peaks also gave us bizarre editing choices involving Indians kneeling at the end of a daybed in a completely different area than where the show is actually taking place at the time of what is going on in the show. Continuity is a thing, David Lynch, and I don't give a shit what you think. You need to have it in order to tell a good story.
Yeah. And
it's very irritating.
Another piece about that show that I know the whole soap thing, and that's what the music was trying to imitate, but goddamn, talk about just like I've never been like smacked in the face when it comes to trying to connect to a scene, and then it's like, it's supposed to be a horrible, depressing scene,
and then you got that cornball synth music popping.
Yes, that has totally is just so left field, and I'm like, what the fuck? That is not even how soaps do it. I've seen soap operas before. They don't do that. Even back in the day, they didn't do that. Yeah, they had corny music, but it was at the right moments because they wanted you to connect with the show.
You know,
David Lynch.
But here's the thing that's frustrating for me is, like, I have all these friends and writers who I look up to who are fucking raving about this goddamn thing. And I just can't connect to it. And here's this is what I was trying to get to a minute ago, is that so Joe had been watching the Return on Showtime, and she says, Brad, I want you to watch episode 8 if nothing else, because it's an incredible art film. And that's a terrifying sentence when it comes to David Lynch, but
no shit.
I watched it because she said to watch it, and you know what? I've made Joe watch some things that she seriously dreaded watching, and I owe her. I owe her. So I watched it, and she's explained to me previously that this entire episode was how the Black Lodge was created. The Black Lodge that creates the ultimate in goofy ass endings that I've ever heard of for anything in the world. Brandon, do you mind some Twin Peaks spoilers?
I guess it's okay.
Okay. So,
I understand it anyway.
Like, here's my version of understanding about how the original run of Twin Peaks ended. Cooper goes into the Black Lodge, and a doppelganger of him is created.
Okay.
A doppelganger. Did your respect for this series just plummet even further into the fucking dirt?
No.
Because mine did. The phrase doppelganger in, like, serious fucking storytelling is the dumbest goddamn thing I can fucking imagine. That is not a concept that works in, like, good drama. It doesn't even work when it's in... It barely works in good science fiction and fantasy. It's honestly a silly fucking concept.
The only time I've ever encountered was Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Other than that, I don't think I've ever encountered that trope.
And you know what? Invasion of the Body Snatchers, in its original inception, is basically an entire film about McCarthyist America and the communist Red Scare. That's what the original Invasion was about. There was a reason for it to be that way. So she's telling me about this thing about how there's now an evil Cooper, and how there's, in the new show, there's another Cooper who's not really Cooper. He's Dougie Jones, and he's mentally handicapped. And I'm like, how in the fuck can you take this seriously?
Okay. I need to know, does evil Cooper play practical jokes?
No.
Because I know the original Cooper, he had a odd sense of humor. Now, if evil Cooper doesn't take that sense of humor and morph it to a more devious mind,
no, from what I understand,
then the show fails. The show
fails then.
Because there's just I would need him to be the fucking practical joker.
Well, unfortunately, this show is. Now, I will give it this: the Return series. What I've seen of it was better than the original show, because it wasn't as obnoxious. And episode 8, the art film one, I watched it, and I will be honest with you, I didn't know what the fuck what any of it really meant. I had no context for what was going on, and if Joe hadn't said, this is what this is, I would have been like, okay, alright, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at, but I'll give it this. It's kind of great. It's kind of beautiful what he does visually on that. It is the only time I've seen something from David Lynch that I felt like he was an actual filmmaker and an artist. Because watching Lost Highway or Mulholland Drive, I got nothing but frustration out of those two experiences because they're not appealing to look at fucking all. Like, there's nothing, there's like weird camera movements and just bizarro shit happening in Mulholland Drive. Like, there's a conversation between these two guys in Mulholland Drive, you know, towards the beginning of the movie. They're in a diner, and it's like, I had a dream about this place, and somebody watched us through the walls, and they go outside, and around the back of the building, it's like this slow, like, creeping crawl, like, looking for whoever's watching through the walls or whatever, and this, like, homeless-looking motherfucker who's, like, covered in dirt jumps out from behind the wall, and the guy who had the dream faints. And the creepy-looking thing disappears behind the wall, and it's like, wow, that was a jump scare in a David Lynch film. And then it ends. And I'll be honest, I gave up on this movie because I just couldn't fucking do it. After an hour and 40 minutes had passed, I felt like I'd been sitting there for 3 days. So I was just like, I can't do it, and I'm so sorry. I can't keep doing this. And I gave up. Maybe the movie got amazing at the ending. I don't know. But the movies are just not appealing to look at. But this episode of The Return Twin Peaks, this episode that is like highly acclaimed amongst all people who watch it and really know what's going on in the show, they're right. This is actually a very beautiful piece of film art. I don't know what the fuck is going on in it, Brandon. It's so weird. It's like what I would really like for David Lynch's work to look like whenever I think about David Lynch's work and him being this like master filmmaker. If it all looked like this, I would get it. If that makes sense. Like, because I've seen Mulholland Drive and the early parts of Twin Peaks that I've seen, you know, the original show, which are visually unappealing and just goddamn ugly. This is legit fucking, like, nice looking cinematography and visual design. And it's unnerving and it's weird and it's kind of what I wish his work was in these, like, richly acclaimed films that he's made. Does that make sense? Like, I was thinking maybe if I watch this thing that, you know, is acclaimed as Mulholland Drive is, like, Mulholland Drive's in the damn Criterion Collection. Like, I was thinking maybe, just fucking maybe I'll get it this time.
Wrong.
Nope. Instead, I got something that was akin to Twin Peaks. And there was better cinematography in parts, but then some parts of it were still... I'm going to say this, and I know I'm wrong to say this. I completely understand that what I'm about to say is the most insulting and stupid thing I could possibly say about a filmmaker of the class that David Lynch occupies. Some of the shots in that movie look like something out of The Goddamn Room. Because they're these very, like, weird... They're not canted angle shots. They're very straightforward shots of people sitting at a boardroom table. And the characters that are on screen are so low in the frame, and you have this gargantuan amount of dead space occupying about 75% of the screen. Mm-hmm. And it's a terrible shot. I'm sorry. It is a fucking awful shot. I don't care what anybody says. It's one of the ugliest shots I've ever seen in a professional work of cinema. I was astonished that this is a movie that is considered one of the best movies of the past 20 years. Whenever it's got cinematography as amateurish as this particular shot was.
How dare you?
Like, I studied film when I was in college, and that is not how you compose a shot. I mean, but then again, he's David Lynch. He can get away with it. He's the director of Eraserhead. But you know what else? You know what else that motherfucker directed? Dune. Shut the fuck up.
Who thought that was a good idea?
He just come off of Elephant Man, I think, and that was a, highly acclaimed film as well. So, well, yeah, it was. But I mean, I'm never watching Elephant Man either because, no.
God, that cover makes me think of Eraserhead. So fuck that shit with the rusty pole. No.
Yeah, so 1980 historical drama film about Joseph Merrick confiscates this giant skateboard. I'm sorry. Yeah, David Lynch, 1980. So yeah, this would have been right before. Had John Hurt in it. I like John Hurt.
And Anthony Hopkins.
I like Anthony Hopkins. And Bancroft's pretty good. Don't know the rest of these people.
Still not enough to get me to watch it.
It was produced by Mel Brooks. What?
Credited, right? Yeah, credited.
It's like, this isn't a comedy, don't put my name on it. Actually, I saw the trailer, don't put my name on it. Oh. So, yeah, I guess that his next film would have been Dune. Could be wrong.
You mean Doom?
Doom?
Yes, as it was doomed.
I'll be honest, if David Lynch decided he was going to direct an adaptation of Doom, the video game, I might give him one more shot just to see what he does with Doom. Because Doom has no plot.
Sure, why not? Okay, there you go. Literally the only way you could ever get me to watch another one of his films.
Is if he makes Doom into a film. Oh. So, the most important director of this era, according to The Guardian. Here's the thing.
Why?
It's like, I don't mind art in film. I don't. But there's a point where you stop making art and you start bullshitting people with your art. And
that's what I think of most literature.
No, literature is just a matter of taste, and we just don't like that kind of story. There's a difference. I mean, sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're right.
I agree to a point, but I feel like some of these people just write and fill pages with just a vomiting of words that.
Whoa. You better not be talking about Thomas Pynchon here. You better back off my buddy Pynchon.
Honestly, I mean, it may be well written, but still, technically, he is guilty of it.
Yes, but it's beautiful madness.
No, because the same people are going to say the thing about fucking David Lynch here. And to a point, yes, you may have your vice of just pretentious bullshit, but at the end of the day, it's still pretentious bullshit.
How he does it is pretentious bullshit, but the reality is, it's economical almost for him to give you all of the visual details that he wanted to deliver in a single scene, but he didn't give you a sentence for each one. So, I hear you, but I call it a matter of economy. Really, broken economy.
Oh my dear God.
What?
He directed a Nicolas Cage film.
What?
Wild at Heart is a Nicolas Cage film.
Bullshit. No, I don't want to watch another David Lynch film.
It's got
bullshit.
Oh my God, look. Nicolas Cage, William Dafoe, Crispin Glover. What the fuck?
Laura Dern. Holy shit.
This film.
Harry Dean Stanton. Brandon, you shouldn't have found this out. I didn't want to watch another one of his movies.
This probably got really horrible ratings, didn't it?
It won the Palme d'Or at Cannes.
What the fuck? It's a romantic comedy. It's a romantic comedy.
What? What is this man? What is this David Lynch person? What the fuck? I
David Lynch does not care. David Lynch does what he wants.
My God, it has a 65% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep.
Whew. Maybe I would like it. Oh my God, it has an X rating. That's not okay.
Knowing David Lynch is probably for gratuitous symbolism.
Violence, actually. Gratuitous symbolism.
Because that's what that motherfucker does. Fucking Eraserhead.
Oh my God. I need you to get me an NC-17 MPAA logo. So then we're going to change the descriptor to gratuitous symbolism. Oh, Brandon, that has made my night.
You know, when I first saw the cover of Eraserhead, I was like, he got Dan Aykroyd to play in this film?
God damn it, Brandon.
And then I looked, I was like, wait a minute. That's not Dan Aykroyd. It just sort of reminded me of Dan Aykroyd for some reason, but still.
Oh my Lord. That's pretty special, Brandon. Oh man. Jesus. Oh Lord. No, it looks like it got the NC-17 for a character shooting off his own head with a shotgun, and they made changes to it to make it an R-rated film. So. We're gonna just setting up shooting in.
Gunsmoke was added to tone down the blood and hide the removal of the character's head from his body.
Delicious.
So we added smoke to keep you from seeing the head flying off.
Hey man, works, right? Oh. Oh my God. David Lynch directed a movie with Nick Cage in it. I'm not sure what to do with this information. Tim doesn't have it on his Voodoo account, does he?
I don't know. Let's check Timflix.
Timflix. Have you told Tim that that's what we call it?
Yes.
Did you get a kick out of that?
Actually, he saw it on when y'all mentioned it on Facebook. I think Joe did or something.
She did.
And he's like, Timflix? I was like, that's what we call it.
So he knows that I have his account?
He knows you have mine. No, it is not on Voodoo at all.
God damn it. Brandon, please do not buy a DVD of this to watch next weekend.
What? No. God, no. I'd never buy a DVD.
You sure about that?
Well, I just said I'd never buy a DVD of it.
Okay, you might buy a Blu-ray.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
Don't buy a Blu-ray either. And then this motherfucker's gonna bring a fucking VHS copy of Wild to our house. Because I got a fucking VCR.
Now that's the way to watch it.
Then at least there's an excuse for the fact that it looks like dog shit.
Dog shit?
So, Blue Velvet's another one that I've heard that he's like known for, and he actually shot that in Wilmington.
That's the one that people was like, you need to watch Blue Velvet. No, I don't.
No, Blue Velvet's even crazier, from what I understand. Although Dune,
I just, what makes him the most important director of our time? I mean, just because he got some popularity but while doing his insane filming style, that does not make him the greatest director. It just makes him one that just happened to get popular.
I don't know.
He got exposure. You never know. There could be some unknown director has that better than him. You don't know.
I mean, I can think of other art film directors who are better than him. I'm gonna say something that would piss off some people right away and say that I think Darren Aronofsky is a much better filmmaker than he is.
Of course, yeah, definitely. I can actually connect with him, even during his really weird days.
Yeah, because he actually put characters who acted like people on the screen. That is pivotal to making a good narrative film. You have to give the audience something to connect to other than your fucking art house sensibilities. That is number one for me. Like, if I cannot connect to the characters, I don't care what story you're telling. I have to at least care about them. Like, I have to have an emotion about those characters. If I hate them, at least I feel something.
I didn't know that was his film.
What's that?
Mother?
Oh, Darren Aronofsky?
I did not know that was him.
Yeah, man. Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah, and it's fucking weird.
I want to see that so bad. It looks genuinely horrifying, and I mean that in the best way. And frankly, it's got a good cast. Javier Bardem and Jennifer Lawrence are both talented actors. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Joe's even excited about seeing. Just like, I think both those actors are good. Darren Aronofsky's been really good, except for Noah. I can't wait to see it. She shares my feelings about Noah, about the fact that it's.
I've yet to. I still haven't seen that one.
Don't, Brandon, don't.
Oh, it even has Ed Harris. Michelle Pfeiffer's in this film?
Yeah. I will be honest with you. That movie is Noah is not good. It's got one very interesting pivotal idea, and that is the question of whether or not mankind should have been saved from the flood.
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting. Like, that is a very interesting idea to base a movie on. It is still an absolute dumpster fire of a film. Because I'm trying to think of a way that works to explain what's wrong with this movie. It spends too much time trying to be a regular old fantasy movie to augment the Bible tale of Noah, that it dilutes its message. And if it didn't have all the fantasy bullshit occupying a monstrous amount of screen time, it would be a better movie. But unfortunately, it spends too much time trying to be Lord of the Rings, because there are creatures in it that are essentially the Ents, and it makes for a very bad movie. And I wish it didn't do that, because I genuinely think that it would have been pretty good otherwise. But instead it's fucking often. So, yeah. I just lost this. I think I got out 6-4. No, it's a draw. Fuck you, game. But no, Noah's bad. Aronofsky, but the reason why I think Aronofsky is great is because his movies actually look good. Like, they're shot well. They have a visual tone and presentation that make them utterly gorgeous, even when they're nightmarish. Like Pi. Pi was a student film, and it looks great.
Yeah, I like Pi.
And Requiem for a Dream. That is a disorienting, terrifying goddamn movie.
Yep.
But it looks like something, and it's not just relying on, oh, look at how weird it is, to kind of sell it. And I know I'm being an asshole by saying it that way, but that movie literally did just spend most of its runtime being, oh, look at how weird I am. Mulholland Drive. Or fucking anything I've seen David Lynch. It's like, look at how art house this is. Fuck you, man. But Pi, the characters actually act like people. And same with Requiem for a Dream. And The Fountain. God, The Fountain, man. What a beautiful movie. It's hard for some people to understand it because of how it manipulates time and the fact that all the characters are the same people in different situations, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes for but it ultimately is just a gorgeous film, and it's sad and beautiful, and I love every frame of it. I can't say that about anything I've seen from David Lynch because I'm so disconnected from anything going on that it's hard for me to give a single fuck about it. And that is, for me, where he fails as a filmmaker, is that I don't care. And if I don't care, why the fuck am I watching your fucking movie? So yeah, I think we can close the book on David Lynch now. And
no, we can't.
We can't.
We never can. I can. Like I said, it's. I like some artsy things, but ultimately, what you just said is how I feel about most of it, and why I can't actually get into most of it. Some people I can handle because they actually try to have a human element. They try to make an emotional attachment somewhere, somehow, but then a lot of them don't.
Right, and you have to have an emotional attachment, otherwise why are you doing a narrative work? At all.
To create a piece of, for art's sake.
And I'm all for art's sake, because I listen to fucking progressive rock music. I listen to drone metal. I get art in the context of just making art for art's sake. That is totally what drone is for the most time. It's music by way of ritual. And I get it. I understand it because I have a context for the art that's being presented to me and I like it. I don't get that from David Lynch's film because I don't have any aspect of it to attach to. I know that what Sun is doing is ultimately considered like a musical ritual. My X button just stopped working. Oh, I see what happened. All right.
You're not playing Mario Brothers 2.
I don't have it listed as playing Mario Brothers 2.
No, but the thumbnail is.
Oh, yeah, you did forgive me to give me this. Thank you, Sid. I wanted that. Alright. Alright, let's play some more cards. I want that Squall card. Alright. Maybe he'll play it this time. I've been trying to get him to play the Squall card for like 6 games now. He still hasn't played the damn thing. Why have I not gone to bed yet? It's 11:30. I could be reading right now. I've gotten a little further in the game. I can actually go to I can go to the next part now. Okay. Oh my, we have educated folk in our alright. Alright. More cards. I got the red dragon in here. Looks like something else I haven't got before. Still playing through, or still working on your run of game that I can't remember the name of. God damn it.
Which one?
Prey. That's the one I'm trying to think of.
No, I mean, not right now, but yeah.
How about Stardew Valley?
I haven't played it in a few days. I've just been doing Prey.
That's more your weekend game, isn't it? So you can sit there and play it for like 12 hours.
Well, see, I have come. Well, I mean, I can't call it like a weak spot. Okay, so in Stardew Valley you have seasons, right? So
right.
I am now in winter. What grows in winter? Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
I have a lot of free time. So this section of the game is dragging a little bit because I need to find out. I mean, besides just I'm like, I guess I can go through the different mines, but there's only so much of mining rock that's I'm finding interesting. I want to do other things, so I'm trying to find other things to do. I mean, because at this point you sort of get locked out of doing a lot of things. And so you basically have to wait for the season to end so you can go back to planting and possibly getting hitched and all kinds of other stuff.
Please tell me they call it getting hitched.
No,
that would complete the tone of that game.
It would. It really would.
Alright. I just want to point out that Cypher as a card is just as much of a dick as his character in the game. Fuck you, Cypher.
Sort of. What is it with them wanting to put the weak numbers on the left-hand side, though?
Because he secretly knows underneath all the code that I have cards that suck at attending to that need.
Same. Like, that's the thing that kept annoying me. I was like, damn it.
That son of a bitch just played this
cards and
he's played the Cypher card twice now, and I haven't been able to get it either time.
Yeah. See, that's what would happen to me.
I kind of hate this aspect of my run of the game.
Yep. So did I. That's why I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
I should just do this off stream and just like load my save onto my Vita. That's why I have the Vita 4. Is that very specific thing. Somebody's gonna come along and say, well, why the fuck don't you just use a PSP? PSP's cheaper and doesn't have shitty memory cards. Both of which are valid arguments, I should note. Yay, I won. And I don't need any of these cards. Take the Elastoid card at the very least. Whew. I'll go one more round and then I'm gonna save and wrap it up for the evening because I have to work tomorrow.
Same.
Not for very long though. At most I'll work 5 hours tomorrow.
Well, right now I finally got my hours back for the moment, so I will be there until 6.
I'm at 29 and 15 for the week. I've only worked 3 days.
Damn.
It's been a long week.
It has been a long week.
Actually, you know what's really just been long about this week? Wednesday. Wednesday in all of its various forms can just fuck right off. Because that was not a good day of work. That was a long damn day of work. It is almost midnight where I am. Person in the chat. Which admittedly is not that late, but I gotta work at 9 tomorrow. And I do want to read at least 30 pages of Wise Man's Fear tonight. I'd like to see me finished with it Sunday, so I can read something else on my vacation.
Sunday?
Yeah. Although, I mean, we're going out of town Saturday. See my folks. We're leaving Saturday night to do that. Alright. Can I win this card game and get a completely worthless card? Dun,
No.
dun, dun.
No, you cannot.
The odds are probably not with me. That is not a joke. Especially since I'm playing really shit right now. Did I get through? Yay! Which of the many cards that I already have do I want to take? I'll take a Forbidden this time. I don't even remember what it refines to, and the book's sitting here in front of me on the coffee table. I don't want to dig it out. Oh, I'm going to go down and save. Because I'm beat. By the way, IKEA's like metal shelves that we just added to our living room.
Mm-hmm.
They can burn in hell because the holes were not drilled exactly right on the ones we got. So it took quite a bit of rage to get that damn thing assembled today. Alright, let's see, save. Should I play this on the podcast tomorrow night?
Sure.
I mean, I should get past the first disc at some point, because I'm trying to do the whole thing. I am trying to do the whole game on stream. God help me. God help anybody watching it too. Alright, well, anyway, thank you anybody who has watched this tonight or is going to watch it and play back later. We appreciate it. Consider subscribing to our lovely channel here. We record a podcast every Friday night, about 10:30 in the evening. And that is where you can watch the next segment of Final Fantasy VIII, as we will be streaming it. And until then, thank you and good night.
Laters.